I'm going to go through, excuse me, my voice is horrible, but I'm going to go through the odds. So make sure you pay attention, and then I need you to complete the evens. Okay, so here we have a regular trinomial. This is an easy trinomial, just two sets of parentheses, x and x. Since everything's plus, it's going to be plus plus. And then you just have to think of ways again, 36. Pick the one that adds up to a 12. So it won't take you long to figure out 6 times 6 is 36. But then the outers and inners agree with the 12x. Okay? So then this one, you want to look for a GCF. Okay? So you notice they're all even, but you're going to see that 4 fits into all three numbers. So you can actually factor out a 4. And if you factor out a 4, you're going to get an easy trinomial. Okay, so 4 times m squared, there's the 4m squared. 4 times 3 is 12. And 4 times negative 28 is the negative 112. Okay, so just keep the 4 out front, 2 sets of parentheses. You know it's m and m. This time, it's going to be a plus and a minus. So you're going to sit here, think of ways again, 28, and eventually you're going to come upon a positive 7 and a minus 4. That will agree, so it adds up to the 3m in the middle. Okay? Now this one, this is the hardest one where we don't have a GCF. Okay, there's nothing to factor out to make it easier. So then you have to do that AC method we talked about. So I'm going to make a diamond. I'm going to take 7 times negative 48. It's going to be a negative 336, and it's n squared. And we're not going to give up until we can find a combination of two numbers that will add up to a negative 50. Okay, so it's going to take a while to figure it out. So I'm just going to start taking 360 on my calculator, and I'm going to systematically go through numbers that divide into. So we have 336 and 1. That's not going to get me a negative 50. When you divide by 2, you can have 2 and 168. That's not going to be able to get me a negative 50. So then I'm going to try a 3. Still not going to work to give the difference here. Can't be a negative 50. So I'll try 4. 4 and 84 still can't get a negative 50. So 5 won't work. We'll see if 6 divides. So now, hopefully you see a 6 and 56. Okay? That is how we can get a negative 50 if we have a negative 56n and a positive 6n. Okay, so again, you have to be pretty good with numbers. Now, I'll try to avoid really large numbers, but you can still find it. Okay, so it takes a little bit of work, but you'll be able to find it. Oh, my voice is awful, so I apologize for my voice, but we can still do math. So what we do, once we find this, we're going to replace the middle term with the two numbers that we found. Then we basically factor by grouping. We split it down the middle. On this left side, I can factor out a 7n, and I'll be left with n minus 8. So the nice thing about this is whatever's in parentheses has to appear on the other side for this to work. So I can factor out a 6. 6 times n is 6n. 6 times negative 8 is the negative 48. And now I have my answers. So the pieces on the outside make up a factor. And then the n minus 8 is your other factor. Okay. So again, a little bit harder, but it's definitely something you can find the pieces for. Okay, now coming back to a pretty easy one. Number 7 is actually very easy because the numbers are a lot more manageable. Okay, so it still can't factor out a GCF. Always look for a GCF. There's nothing in common with all three terms. So I'm going to take a times c, which is a negative 9n squared, to add up to a negative 8n. Well, that's pretty easy. It's a negative 9 and a 1n. Okay, so multiplies to give you negative 9, adds to give you negative 8. I'm going to replace the middle term, and we're going to split it down the middle. Okay, so I'm going to factor out a 3n, and then over here, I must have a 3n, so really, you just need a 1 on the outside. Okay, so 1 times n minus 3 is still 1n minus 3, and then 3n plus 1, and n minus 3 is the other factor. Okay? Now, number 9, we can make number 9 easier for us because, again, all even numbers. Now, 4 doesn't fit into 30, but I can factor out a 2. Okay, so we're going to factor out a 2 to make it a little bit easier to deal with. So if I divide each of these by 2, I'm left with a little bit easier trinomial, so that 2 just stays out front. But I'm going to make my diamond now, and now I just need to take 2 times 18, which is 36, and it's a k this time. So k squared, that adds up to a 15k. Okay, so again, my brain starts to think of all the different combinations, like raise again, 36, 6 and 6, that won't give me a 15. 9 and 4 won't give me a 15, but what will give me a 15 is a 12k and a 3k. Okay, so that's where, again, you may just need to use your calculator and start dividing until you find the pieces. But I'm going to be able to replace the 15 with a 12k and a 3k. Split it down the middle. I'm going to factor out a 2k, which is going to be left with k plus 6 in parentheses. I must have a k plus 6 on the other side, so I'm going to factor out a 3. 3k is 3k. 3 times 6 is 18. So now don't forget the 2 that's out front, but 2k and a plus 3, and the k plus 6 is my other factors. Okay, so again, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some practice. Try some of these, get your big idea assignment completed, and then you will hand in this packet when we have all the problems completed. Okay, so thanks for watching. Again, I apologize about my voice, but this is something that is very critical if you're ever going to take Algebra 2. Factoring is a huge part of Algebra 2 and beyond. Okay, so thanks for watching. Take care.